My name is Daniel Marakis, and this is my Pathway to Literacy, Part 1. 1. Phonology. When we are born, we are vocabulary, running on unintelligible sounds, brains swimming in mitochondrial soup, alphabetized, onomatopoeic. Memory a sieve, sifting kernels of sound from chaotic. I listen to Sesame Street 78s. Crowded bathrooms and rubber ducks, Bert's voice saying the same thing over and over and over. My parents' arguments, I am naive, my listening skills pneumatic. A formless gas filling rooms its hippocampus, evaluating senses at the rate of a child crying. Don't put anything you don't want to share, she said. Too late, he mumbled. That same living room, wood-paneled shag carpeting, forevs dampened by the flood of 81, no longer exists, but in my sieve, the living room that is curled around Goldilocks and the Three Bears, the little engine that could. 2. Bibliology. My father spoke to me in the womb, and my mother ever after, sense of cultivation controlled, art lessons and after-school clubs, the homework I never wrote down, my first-grade teacher praised me, my vocabulary formed prenatal. I drummed on desks with finger pads, interrupted class to end. I go home and devour my book club by mail stack of fiction, spread from the very young to the young adult. Rolled and shell, I read them all. One night you stay up until the sun rose reading my namesake, the champion of the world. 3. Catalectics. I was an only child on holiday, mimicking my mother's nose lost to pages. I even tried to knit once because she modeled activity so convincingly. Long trips on boats only got boring when I ran out of books. Over and over, I'll never forget shopping with her in Gurnee. She told me my first word I ever read was sail. Though I don't believe her, I chose a book on an end cap in a bookstore aisle. It was in the place you find impulse buys. An epic tale of knights and dragons and made-up stuff I could get down with, still a sucker for fantasy. It was by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, and it ruled, unlocking a new shelf in every bookstore and library I would enter for the next 6 or 7 years, finding other authors who wrote for the same brand of what I would later discover was a turn-based role-playing platform. Though my only child-looking ass never had but NPCs to master my dungeons, my love of the series was crippling. All through high school, I sat with a creased spine wedged between my lap and desk, feigning attention to terrible practitioners whose pedagogy consisted of ignoring half of my peers and myself. My reading log was a point of contention for my language arts teacher because she did not believe the story it told. My mother told her not to be jealous in the phone conversation they had. I tried really hard, but received an F on the final exam, flunking language arts, attending summer school just to get high school. 4. Ephebiatrics. Teacher enters life demanding of attention through compassion. I was a Marxist. I believed in myself too much. My experience the only crutch for a crippling effect of reading for the sake of others. An adolescent who believed the world a bubble, books the only molecule to pass the selectively permeable membrane of the myth of my unique infallibility. A social nomad who wandered the deserts of 11th grade to chance upon the oasis of creative writing. A deep pool and a single palm tree, the ground laden with ripe shells. I learned what a prompt was, and I wrote one for existence. To analyze a life for the purpose of composing an end. 5. Deontology. Graduating barely alive, run roughshod by classics, entering the workforce, a necessity bred by a habitus of spending. I fled for Texas, last bastion of youth, chopping wood, smoking brisket, boiling eggs, drinking cooking wine, and ice beers night swamped by syntax. Every morning, a new rejection letter. After receiving many submissions, we regret to inform you that Pathways to Literacy Part 1 has not been selected. A sea change of purpose, the acts and scenes of my 20s an epigram. To share, to encourage, to demand, to empathize, to give sanctuary from the hot, real sun.